Hi there. I am back. My name's Deborah Green, and we're working on art projects for my high school art class, which is on shelter in place during this coronavirus pandemic. I'm going to do two things today because that's what I like to do. Kind of have one piece happening, then give it a break and work on something else, and I'm going to give you some skills around that. This piece is the collage I'm working on, answering the question, oh, Miss Green, I don't have any art supplies at home. And my answer is, that's okay. You can work with anything. And this is a great opportunity to work with repurposing materials. So, since we still all get circulars and catalogs and junk mail in the mail, rather than throw it right into the recycling bin, you can tear it up. And this is made out of many different things. Let me just show you what came today. So what came today is an envelope with a lot of wonderful red on it. And another envelope with beautiful colors on it. It even has buildings. I might actually want to use those buildings, and some beautiful dark blue. I haven't even opened it up yet. What could be in here? So, part of the, oh my goodness, that's beautiful. Look at those beautiful purples and oranges and yellows. So I may never fly in an airplane again, but man, United, you know how to print your materials with beautiful colors. So we can actually use those colors in different projects. So when I designed this, and as you can see, I've stretched the red out and a couple of other things. I added outlines to the faces, and then I ended up doing that to the just having, what do they call that line? An implied line. And all I did actually was take paper and just tear it really slowly and carefully, like I'm pinching it, to get these beautiful lines. I also use kind of pieces of blue jeans and dark colored clothing that was in the catalog. Let me just put a little bit, where do I want to put some of this? Oh dear, okay, I'll put the little hair right in there. So I can just place it in position, press it down, and I can kind of tear it with my fingers. And I still want to be aware of placement, so things are balanced. The lettering, originally I was going to do it in black, but the black was too dark, and the piece is basically a dark piece. But white was too light. So then I experimented with a catalog I was going to throw out, silly me, and I went for just strips of catalog pages that had a little bit of printing on it and white. So here's my J. So I like that because it's not too dark and it's not too light, but there's a little bit of contrast, so it stands out against the red. And again, if my letters are too big or too small, I can just add more torn red paper. Kind of clean up those edges. So that's that poster coming to a close. I'd love to have it finished over the weekend. Okay, so that's 4.5 minutes. I hope you're working on yours. And then this is for everybody. And I made a promise to you at the last video. This is like how to doodle. So classic art class practices is making a table, and on each table experimenting with different lines and having a pattern of those lines, and experimenting with repeating those lines and going for a variety of lines and shapes, and then contrasting black with white. One really nice trick to think about when you can't think is there's three classic shapes in the universe, and we call it the circle, the triangle, and the square. So you can actually just do patterns, just riffing off of circles, triangles, and squares, which will remind you that, oh my God, there's things called curved lines and squiggly lines and spirally lines and straight lines. So, and for doodling, you don't even want to think about it. You just want to go mindlessly have fun. Excellent thing to do when you're on the phone. What I want to teach you today, though, is how to do a doodle and add value. So, let's see. I'm just going to put this up here. Can you see that? Yeah, sort of, kind of, sort of. Again, any kind of pencil is good. Oh, my eraser fell on the floor. But to get a really rich range of values, which is light to medium and dark, light in terms of black, you'd have white, light gray, medium gray, dark gray, black. You can also use just a regular pencil. The blacks aren't as rich as with an ebony pencil. Ebony pencils are mwah, beautiful, delicious. Don't eat them. And you can also use a colored pencil, and then you have color. Actually, I think I grabbed a black colored pencil, but they all work the theory is the same for value, the lightness and darkness of an image. So first we're going to start with a scale. This is just classic art school practice and exercise. So in music you have scales, you practice your scales. So in art we have scales, we're going to practice our scales. So the first note is white, okay? Then I'm going to hold my pencil on its side. Let's see. So there's the point, and I'm going to call that the side. And I'm holding the pencil like this, not like this, but like this. So the pencil is parallel to the paper, and I'm going to do a light gray layer on top of these 4 remaining squares. Okay, so that's light gray. Now I'm going to add a second layer with a little more pressure on the pencil. And you want to, it's not that big, so you may as well do it neatly. You're not cutting grass. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to do a third gray. So I have white, light gray, medium gray. I want to go for a dark gray. More pressure in square number 4 and square number 5. Gonna add another layer here. So you can really see the distinction between the light gray, the medium gray, and the dark gray. And I'm going to end with a lot of pressure and make a nice rich black. Okay? Those are the steps. Those are value steps. A gradient is where the values gradually change from light to dark. So start with white, light gray, increase my pressure till it gets to black. I'm going to do that one more time. Light gray, medium gray, dark gray, increasing my pressure. Okay? So that's a gradient. Works beautifully with colored pencils. But doodling is where we're going to begin here. So you can just bring lines anywhere. As Paul Klee said, a line is just your pencil taking you for a walk. Or he said something like that. Then I'm just going to add some shapes. And, you know, I'm talking to you, so I'm not really thinking about what shapes I wanted to make. So let's say you're on the phone with someone on the West Coast or the East Coast. You know, you're just doodling. You should look up the word doodle. And okay, so, you know, I'm talking to my Aunt Matilda, and I've got this design kind of, sort of. Okay, so now I'm just gonna start adding value. You know, and I'm always interested also like in the linguistics of language, and you know, value sort of the enhanced quality of something. You know, if something has value, it's kind of more special to you. What has value to one person might not particularly have value to someone else. So they have different values. So I'm going to bring in some medium gray values and some dark gray values. Maybe some nice rich blacks. Man, I always love these. Like you, I begin a piece, I go, oh, this isn't very good. Isn't that a fun voice to have in your head? But you really just need to keep going. Don't give up. Don't stop. Be unstoppable. And experiment. It's a doodle, for God's sakes. And the more you doodle, the better you get. And when you bring it into your actual artwork, if you want to call that actual artwork, your artwork will have more, you'll have more knowledge to bring to it. I'm actually adding a gradient here, because gradients are lovely, okay? So I'm going to stop there at 12.5 minutes. Love you. Thank you for coming and visiting me here in YouTube land. And I'd love to see your work too. Okay, bye-bye. See you tomorrow.